Hello everyone and welcome and thank you for joining the Market Outlook from XNS Education. Today we'll be discussing the key possible idea for this week in trading and some of the reasons. Joining us is Stanislav Bernikov. Thank you very much, Stan, for being here.
Hello, Michael. Thank you for having me today.
And what do you think, Stan, is the main key idea for trading this week?
Well, last week was pretty controversial because we've seen the negative sentiment evolving in the markets. We've seen big distribution days for S&P 500 and NASDAQ, almost 3% of losses. And that's why this week I'm focusing on Bitcoin. If you take a look at the chart, which I'm showing you, so the Bitcoin shows some early signs of a rebound. However, in case it goes to the resistance area above, so I would be probably searching for a short position because the negative sentiment is still on. A risk-off regime is dominating in the market. So I think that all those bounces and pullbacks probably would be fragile. Of course, there is a minor possibility that we will see the big buyers stepping in with a huge volume. But according to what we see now, so it's unlikely, and probably I will be focusing on short. So that's what I see. We know that Bitcoin correlates with equity markets, and what we've seen last week, the plummeting NASDAQ and tech stocks and bad performance of Netflix, which plummeted 35%, it affected negatively Bitcoin too. So that's why what we see now in the equity markets, fear and greed index, inclining towards fear zone, that all affects cryptos negatively. We see that the Fed is becoming more hawkish, as at least people perceive, traders and investors perceive the more hawkish behavior from Fed. If you see this green line, this is a probability of a hike towards the level of 150, 175. So actually 83% of traders are already convinced that we will have such a hike in June. So that's pretty much the big number. So you see that this green line skyrocketed the last week. So this is the dynamics, the current dynamics. And we've seen the rising dollar index as a result and the treasury yields. So of course, all these circumstances drive down prices of stocks and also cryptos. However, cryptos show a relatively good dynamics, but still they are pushed down by all these negative sentiment and all these events.
All right, so based on these factors, and specifically we're looking at the correlation with equity markets, today we've got another fairly big week of earnings reports, not such a big week on the economic calendar itself. So do you think briefly, Stan, you could explain for us, some of the main earnings reports that are coming out and, the possible kind of effect they're going to have on sentiment?
Yeah, last week we had also the beginning of earnings season. We had Netflix posting earnings and Tesla posting earnings. Tesla was actually beating expectations, while Netflix had done really poorly, but Tesla was beating expectations. However, the overall week was down. Even Tesla's good earnings hadn't helped it to keep the current price level. So this week we will have also a bunch of technological companies from FANG and other groups posting earnings. For example, Microsoft is reporting on April 26, Visa, Google. Also, we have Facebook, which is Meta, posting earnings. So lots of big companies, big techs are posting earnings this week. I don't think it will add up very much optimism to the market because we've seen that currently market is not reacting very positively to even good earnings, but it might kind of stop the downtrend or help provide some support for stocks and also for cryptos.
Right, thanks very much, Stan. So the key idea for this week then is a possible counter-trend trade for Bitcoin as it moves down, possibly to test support over the next few days. And the key narratives we've got driving that are three. There's mainly Bitcoin's relatively strong correlation with equities and with indices. And we've also got the focus on the Fed's meeting next week, where it seems to be universally expected that there'll be a two-step hike. And as a result of that, the strength of the dollar index. And this week, the main things that traders are probably watching are not on the economic calendar, but on the earnings calendar, as we've got some major earnings for big tech companies, but these probably aren't expected to add significant positivity to the market. So thanks very much, Stan, for joining us and giving us your idea and your insights.
Thank you, Michael. Have a good trading week, everyone.